It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Yep, right back. Right back. Here we go. I want to do it right now. Not waiting, not later. Here we go. All right, Dick, help me out, man. You know, why would an attorney take the time to write a book of God on trial? When did you start doing this, and what was the motivation? You were motivated. I am going to put pen to paper. I'm going to sit in front of a computer for months, if not years, to write a book challenging God because he's challenging me. I'm motivated. Why? What would bring that on?
The number one reason that this came about is there are a number of excellent books dealing with philosophy, God, concepts of things such as that. However, very few people read them because they're set up to be too intellectual. The problem then is, how do you get somebody to read a book like this? And the answer is you have to have in it debauchery, sex, corruption, murder, and crime. But actually, the book is about epistemology, one of the 5 fields of philosophy.
Okay, now let's go ahead and wind back. Mm-hmm. I have heard that word slung around all the time, epistemology. I mean, usually when you're dealing with, you know, Ayn Rand stuff, or you're talking about libertarianism, you know, anarchism or whatever. Well, the epistemology is blah, blah. Define that word for me.
Epistemology is one of the 5 fields of philosophy. Now, the first, of course, is metaphysics, dealing with what existence is and so on. And the second is epistemology, is how we learn what existence is. In this book, God on Trial, the protagonist, the hero, is constantly asking, what do you know and how do you know it? And those are the 2 questions. First is metaphysics, and the second is epistemology, the theory of knowledge.
Okay, so metaphysics is is a philosophy also, or a tool? I mean, let's go ahead and get them all in here, because I know we're going to be tapping on. Every time I have this conversation, they'll all just sling it around like everybody knows what it means. What words are we going to be using to describe what we're discussing?
Well, if we're going to be in a technical term, we'd be using the word epistemology, because I deal so much in epistemology in the book. It's a book about critical thinking, but it's also a book about metaphysics, because it deals with the primacy of consciousness.
Keep going, man.
Yeah,
you're going to be saying this stuff. You got to tell me what it means.
I'm happy to. I just don't want to go.
No, we got 2 hours, man. I tell you why I bring this up. This is something that I learned from Barry Hess when he ran for governor here in the state of Arizona. He'd always say, first, we got to define our terms.
I agree.
If we don't do that, we're just talking past each other. So I want to make sure that we know what the heck we're talking about, what we're saying before we even. So I'm going to keep stopping you every single time you say a word that is I didn't learn in kindergarten. Okay, so here we go.
You went to the wrong kindergarten.
Yeah, whatever, man. Let's get on it. Okay, so go ahead and define. Every time you bring up one of these, I'm going to go whoa, whoa, whoa. Define what you mean by that. Okay, so go ahead.
I think that's good, because one of the big things that you'll find in God on Trial is the protagonist is also saying you must define your terms. Otherwise, you're correct. You're talking past each other. You're not having a conversation. Therefore, you do have to make very specific definitions for terms. And that's one of the problems that you have with God. People will say, I believe in God, or I do not believe in God. Those are the only true, real options when you look at it from a logical position.
But first, you got to define God.
And that is exactly what the crux of the problem is in God on Trial. As my colleague Mark Victor wrote on the back of the book, you can convict a person of murder under the rules of evidence, but you cannot define God. And the problem is most people have a feeling in what they believe in, but they are unable to give an intelligible, coherent definition of God. And that's what the book shows, and that's what the protagonist is saying. Before you can convict me of blasphemy, you first have to say what it is I am blasphemizing.
Okay.
That fair? Can I blasphemize a bottle of water? Well, if the law says it's illegal, but the nice thing about a bottle of water is you can define what it is. Nobody, including you who claims to believe in God, can adequately and intelligibly, understandably define what it is you believe in.
Okay, now let's go ahead and wind back just a little bit.
Yeah.
Say, you, Mr. Hancock, profess a belief in God, and you haven't even defined it yet.
Exactly.
So I'm like, how do you even profess I believe in whatever it is? 'Cause you got to tell me what it is I'm supposed to be believing or not believing in first.
I was just listening to your introduction.
See, everybody hears what they want to hear.
Didn't you say that you believed in God? That you even had church?
I don't remember saying anything.
That you have church here in the house?
So?
Well, what are you praying to?
Who says I'm praying?
Are you praying to Zeus?
Who says I didn't know. I remember anybody saying anything about praying. You remember somebody saying about praying?
No, nobody. You're just listening to some pastor.
I'm not allowed? He doesn't have anything good to say?
No, it's not at all what I'm saying.
You see, that's the point that I'm making.
But Ernie, that's not what I'm saying.
No, you've already said it. This is the point that I make. You can't be atheist enough. You can't be Christian or God-fearing enough.
No.
It's always, you can't learn a damn thing from that thousands of year old Bible. It's toilet paper. And I'm like, there's nothing good in there? Seriously? You can't learn anything. So I'm going, and of course you can twist it, go back and forth. And when you're talking to atheists, they know more about the Bible than believers do. They've read it more. They've studied it more. They got every chapter and verse that they can go the contradictory of the blah, blah, blah. I mean, heck, they might as well be a preacher. So I'm going, all right. Are we going to use the Bible to make a case? I mean, is that where this is going? And in your book, do you use the Bible as part of your evidence to make whatever case it is that you have?
Okay, first of all, everything you've done so far comes in logic under the fallacy of diversion. The fallacy of diversion says that when I'm asked a specific question, I will answer something different.
No, you made a statement that didn't happen. You're saying, well, you pray. I never said anything about praying. Well, you believe. I never said anything about believing. I'm going, you're always looking at the superficial. It's circumstantial evidence, Mr. Attorney. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going, no, nice try.
So let's just answer. Let's go back to it.
All right.
And answer the question. Do you or do you not believe in God?
As soon as you define God to me, we'll talk about it.
See, I can't. Nobody has ever been able to give an intelligible, coherent, understandable definition of God. And I would further say that everyone, to some extent, is an atheist. For example, I don't think you would believe in Zeus. So as to Zeus or Thor...
Why not?
I said I don't think you do.
Well, why don't you think that? You thought I believed in this other, whatever.
Well, because I've heard you before. What you said.
All right. I just want to be, we want to get our terms straight here.
But as to Zeus, I'd be willing to bet you're an atheist. Do you believe that Zeus is a great god?
I don't know. I don't put them in categories or give them names or whatever. If this is the one thing that, so we can cut to this and we can get past this. Mark Victor, our mutual friend, criminal defense attorney, atheist, and proud of it, man. He's got his own religion. It's like called evangelical atheism, all right?
No, not all right.
Well, whatever he calls it, he's definitely, on a mission. And he goes, Ernie, as long, and this is one thing that Vincent Bugliosi was very, enraptured with, is he goes, I said, Mark asked me, he goes, if you can admit that God's only in your head, well, then we can be done. You're an atheist. And I go, well, where else would he be? And how does that make me an atheist? I'm just wondering, why would you even say that? You're saying God wouldn't be in my head? Where else would he be?
I'll come back and explain that after the break.